muted. Oh, 1 second. Yes, fantastic. So I can repeat it again, but anyway, I think it's okay for live stream for those who joining us online. So hello for those who joining us online. It's an untypical event for us because we just decided to celebrate. Today is 10 years of our chapter. I'm running this chapter for 5 years now. Like Nancy and Bhoomika are going to share their story. So literally, we ask our former workshop givers. There are a couple of them in this room already. If you don't mind, you can raise your hand so people see you, like those folks who are giving workshop with us. So thank you so much for your contribution. We also do talks from time to time, but today it's just celebration. So we streaming the first part of the event to YouTube right now. So it's a live stream because we have a couple of messages that we want to share with them. After that, we'll conclude our stream, and it's just time for us for any socializing, whatever questions you have, inspirations, whatever you want to share. If, of course, it's somehow related to Python. If not, we're going to think twice. After 9, yeah. So there are usually a lot of questions about, oh, it's PyLadies Amsterdam. I'm identifying myself as a man. Can I join? You are like a living example. Yes. Each chapter decides on their own whether they restrict entrance to specific, let's say, genders or specific like social statuses, whatever. Our chapter decided to go our way. We said we are welcoming everyone, but here we have one tricky rule. If it's about giving workshops, giving talks, we do at least 12 events per year. At least this is a minimal amount of events. We aim to have at least 10 of the events given fully or partially by someone who identify themselves as the underrepresented community. So that's, let's say, our goal. And that's probably how it's different from other chapters. I also hear some stuff, yeah, but if I'm going to join, like it's a workshop I'm interested in. But if it's like I'm a guy and I'm going to join it, if I'm going to join it, do people are going to think that I'm, like not a standard guy? Like bullshit. We're not gone into this direction. If you're curious, if you're interested, if you have colleagues who wanted to give workshops, spread the love for specific open source libraries that you use and fell in love with, or you have any nice tips and tricks, again, while using specific Python libraries, or you're a core contributor to the Python, or whatever, if it's somehow related to the Python, we're here, talk to us, and we can provide a space, time for the workshop. Usually, what I would say really proud of, 85% of our workshops for these 5 years were given for the first time workshop givers. So it's not the experts giving the workshops, it's just regular people who say, I want to try it out, I want to know what it is. And the motto that we usually having, like, if you want to give a workshop, focus on what you do in everyday, on your everyday job. So something that you don't need to prep a lot, something you fell in love with and you want to share. Or another thing, if you have something on your bucket list you want to play around with, but you don't have time doing this, welcome. It's also a nice candidate for workshop because it ticks 2 boxes for you at the same time on your backlog, playing around with a new library or connector that you want to build or whatever, and also having fun with the rest of people. Before we go on into this, like introductions, I want to share with you, not me, you will see my face again here. I want to show you one interesting story. And I'm originally belong to this office. I'm working for ThoughtWorks Netherlands. And one of our colleagues from ThoughtWorks Germany, specifically from Berlin office, Katharine Jarmul, she is one of the original founders of Global PyLadies chapter. So many, many years ago, so even more than 10 years ago, they were like, oh, we're going to do something differently. You'll hear in a bit about it, a little bit more, how they started it, where it started, how they rolled it down, and all of the things. And I'm really proud because Katharine Jarmul, she will be a keynote speaker for this year PyLadies Amsterdam. So she won among like 3 or 4 keynote speakers. And also really proud because she recently published her book with already. It's her second book. It's literally practical data privacy, where she talked about concepts of differential privacy a lot, and also how to implement the privacy bit by bit in your data processing flows, into your data streams, and all of that. So without further ado, I want to share, I just need to play around a little bit with sound setup. Let's see how it goes and whether we have audio. Catherine right now is in the air, literally, so she's flying right now to United States. I caught her when she was in between her flights in Istanbul. So I had a 30 minutes records with her made in Istanbul airport remotely about how PyLadies were created. So I'm going to share the screen now.
Can you hear it at the back? Do we need a mic?
Yeah, good. So, one second. It's me at home. Just woke up. Okay. Hi. Hello, hello. We have a very special guest today. So let me introduce my colleague, Katharine Jarmul. She's a principal data scientist at ThoughtWorks, Germany. She is located in Berlin office, but she's not taking call from Berlin office right now, but this is our small secret. Anyway, she's also well known in our, let's say, European communities, not only because recently she published her second book with O'Reilly, which is Practical Data Privacy. And by the way, she's also one of the first ladies who created PyLadies. So I think me and the rest of our colleagues just dying out of curiosity to know a little bit the story of creation of PyLadies, if you can share it.
Yes, very, very happily. So some of you may know the story. I hope it's so interesting, but this was back in, I think around 2010 in Los Angeles, 2010, 2011. And there was a group, so I was in the tech scene in Los Angeles. There was many other people in the tech scene in Los Angeles, and a lot of us would go to the local Python user group meetups and other types of user group meetups. And there was kind of like a group of us who were some of the only women who would attend. And we would often end up kind of in a little group chatting together afterwards, so like the pizza after the talks and stuff like this. And we would be often incredibly outnumbered. So like 90% of the people attending identified as men, were men, and 10% of us were women. And that was, had some of the effects. I think numerous people also were a little bit nervous to present at the meetups and so forth, because they were worried about kind of like harsh criticism or feedback, and it didn't feel super comfortable to be actively involved in the organizing team either. It kind of was a boys club, if you will. And so we kept talking about it, and we were like, why are we the only ones here? Like, we even would know other people that like we knew through work, but they wouldn't want to come to the meetups. And we're like, that's weird. Why do people not want to come to the meetups? Other women and so forth. And so we thought maybe we'd do something about it. We all got together at my house, and I made a big batch of sangria. I still have the photo somewhere. I made a big batch of homemade sangria, and we sat around my kitchen table. I cooked us some very classic American spaghetti and meatballs. And
I do hope there are no Italians in this.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
And it was about 6 or 7 of us at that point in time. And that was the night that we chose the name PyLadies, which is also interesting because we were like, oh, should we call ourselves Pie Girls? And then we kind of had this debate like, well, girls kind of sounds diminutive and we're all women. But then Pi women felt like it might not be inclusive to trans women and other things, and also like genderqueer people and other things like this. And so we thought to ourselves, like, maybe PyLadies, because, and later I think that this title got a little bit misinterpreted as being, this old fashioned idea of ladiness. It was definitely not coming from that. It was more like, anybody can be a lady if you want to be a lady. And so So we came up with the name PyLadies, and there was 7 of us in the organizing committee. And a few weeks later, we hosted our first workshop, which was Introduction to Python, which was a +1 event. So only women were invited, and then you could bring a +1 who didn't have to be a woman if you wanted to. And anyways, so that was our first event. It was a great success. There was like 30 people in attendance. And then a few weeks later, we put on our first hackathon. And it was hosted by one of the big tech companies at the time in the LA area. And we did open call, open invite. We had by then a meetup page and the whole thing. And there was over 100 people who showed up, and 60% of the people who showed up were women.
Wow.
And we were like, where has everybody been? Like, what
all the time, right?
And it was crazy to us because then we just started hosting open events. Like, I know that some PyLadies chapters like to do, this +1 or even just women only events, which is of course totally fine. But we started doing a lot of open events, and we noticed that it would almost always be majority women. And that was because people saw these are women organizing this. This is women run, women led. And once they saw that, it drastically changed the people who would attend and the amount of women who would attend and the amount of women who would be comfortable speaking or leading sessions or leading workshops. And I've heard that that's some of your experience at PyLadies Amsterdam. And I just want to say that it's extremely inspiring. When we first heard the first chapter, I think that formed after our chapter, because we published like a kit online, like on GitHub, how to start your own PyLadies.
Yeah, the PyLadies kit.
Yeah, we started that kit online, and we would charge like small amounts for our events. So at first we had filed to become a nonprofit. We wanted to be our own nonprofit, separate from the PSF. And we have filed to become our own nonprofit. Didn't end up working out, numerous reasons, but we had like a little bit of organizational funds, and we would grant everybody their meetup.com first free. So like you would get a sponsor packet, meetup.com, and maybe a batch of t-shirts that we could sponsor as you started a chapter, and chapters sprung up in Australia, I think, in the beginning, and then the East Coast and San Francisco, and then started spawning up around the world. And so PyLadies Amsterdam is one of those chapters. And I was involved for about the first 1.5 to nearly 2 years, and then I stepped down. But it's extremely inspiring to see that the like spirit of the organization at the time, what we wanted, continues. And even though that initial organizing committee is no longer like helping do most of the organizing, I think that the people involved in that beginning would be and are in a lot of ways extremely happy that the work continues in amazing ways from PyLadies everywhere. And I think it's really freaking cool that PyLadies Amsterdam is celebrating 10 years. And I want to say happy birthday. Don't have spaghetti and meatballs. I'm sorry. Just have
I wish you would
some
grab. We decided to celebrate with cakes. If we knew the story beforehand, I think look, we can use it for 15 years celebration, for 20 years celebration, just to have like the circle, the circle date, the round date.
You can have some juice and some sangria available, if you want to bring back that
spirit. Yeah, fantastic. That's really inspiring story. I'm also curious, so that was time back. I'm curious if we go back to this year. So this year you was one of our speakers for the events that we ran together with MLOps community. So any impressions about that event in particular?
I think it was really cool to be there in the office and see how full it was. Like that was a bit amazing and inspiring. And I think again, having this event that's like an event co-hosted between PyLadies and ML Ops, and having two amazing women speakers, myself included in that, was like a really cool, fun thing to do. And I mean, I think it feels like maybe there's like many representation problems in technology and machine learning. One of being, women represented in the research, in the leading positions of machine learning and so forth. And I think that leads to some of the problems that we see in the machine learning culture, particularly around governance, ownership, bias, and so forth, societal bias, in models. And I think it's really heartening when I go to events where it's clearly there's like a diverse group of persons helping lead the topics, organizing, and so forth. And often the more diverse, the better, right? In terms of bringing a multiplicity of ideas and challenging common narratives and thinking through the application and use of machine learning in our world. And I think it's really cool to be at an event that's pushing that. And I want to thank you again for the invitation.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, that was really interesting discussion, especially the concept that you were uncovering. I think to finalize like this really quick and dirty interview, let's call it in this way, cutting up you in the midway in the airport. So thanks for finding time for us. I think, let's say, we are 10 years now, like we are 10 years old now, yeah, we are still somewhere between, I don't know, like girl and lady, or so what you do, let's say, what will be your, like what do you want to say to us, like looking into the future, like specifically for our chapter, any piece of wisdom that you would like to share?
No, just really like I feel like, look, at 10 years, I wasn't leading PyLadies for 10 years. So I think like perhaps now is a good time in communities, in PyLadies communities, to think about like, what does PyLadies mean for your community? What would you want to see? What are your goals? I mean, I think the challenges we were addressing, 10, 12 years ago, were that the community has shifted in a lot of ways. And I would challenge almost to like think bigger and figure out like, what is your mission for PyLadies? What is the thing you want to do with the amazing people that you have in the room? And to take like this inspiration from now more than a decade ago, and to think like, what does PyLadies mean in the context of our world today? And I think you're in some good hands that are involved in the room and thinking through how that might look. And you don't have to stay true to our initial anything, right? Like the goal was to create this like fully federated, fully democratized, fully diverse-led group of individuals to challenge diversity in technology and to support women who love to code. Is, I believe, that was our first our slogan. So to take that, but then evolve it. And I'm excited to see and hear how your party and celebration was, and how the next 10 years go.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot. So this concludes our interview. Just moments. Then and the Katharine was saying, yeah, celebrations. It was like, oh, that. Thanks a lot. So from our side, because that's what our speakers gonna see. So as I mentioned, we invited a bunch of folks who are doing workshops before. If you want to share something and you want to be like on stream, published on YouTube, we're gonna, let's say, call you, and you feel free to go there, because that's where the camera is and the recording speaker is. If you don't want to share it on stream, we can after that like close stream, and then you can share it in this group. So whatever your preference is, we're not pushing you to to do. This is online for the record. So from one side, what I wanted to say, like, I had the similar conversation 5 years ago with a beautiful lady, Dame Dundas. I'm really thankful to her because she was the initiator of this. She was the first person who said, we were met on one of the meetups, again, near pizza and beer. We were like, yeah, those meetups are fantastic, but we want to do something practical, not just doing talks. We want to do some workshops. And we were setting up the whole thing. I would say when later Bhoomika would join us, Bhoomika was literally one of the workshop giver first. She was given a workshop with Bokeh. And then after that, Nancy was also given another. She was given a beautiful talk about, like, I still remember it was deploy on far in Kubernetes, if I'm not, our models in Kubernetes, right? So that's let's say that's bit by bit. And I think you were one of the like the first speakers ever, and it was really powerful one. It was it was about visualizations in Python, and I think the most, if I may say this, the most powerful part of it, because it was all tips that you need to follow if you want to present visuals to colorblind person. So this is something that is really hard to find somewhere, because now accessibility is more like common topic. 5 years ago, it was still not on that level. And I think that's really powerful, what you learn bit by bit. Yeah, anything that you want to add, Nancy, Bhoomika, from your side? Sorry, it's like, you look at a school again, like, can I speak?
Hi. Yeah, so I'm Bhoomika, and I moved here about 4 years ago, and I was doing my master's in TU Delft. And at some point, I realized out of my class of 200 people, there were 30 women. And this really disappointed me. And I was really looking for women company because I like women who are geeks. Men are into UDEF, they're all geeks, but I was just looking for women company who are also geeks. And then I remember in India, I was part of PyLadies Bangalore, and that was sort of my geek women group there. And then I started looking for PyLadies in Netherlands, and then I found Alyona and Emmy, and I was so happy. So, and I also see that now that I'm working in academia, also it's a very skewed ratio. So this is my way of hopefully inspiring people, bringing more geeks together, and yeah, sharing the love for Python. So if you know more people who want to have nerdy talks, let's get together and learn.
Thanks,
That's it.
Bhoomika. Thanks a lot.
Nancy.
Yeah, sure. I hope this is good. I have nothing prepared. Okay, so I'll just go for it. Yeah, I can say I started with Python when I was studying astronomy in the city of Groningen. That's the pronunciation as close as possible. When I came to the Netherlands 13 years ago, I thought I was coming to Groningen. Okay, but okay. And I could choose Python or C++ or C, the other one. And I thought, okay, it's open source. There's a lot of documentation online, so I went with Python. I didn't notice. Of course, you're always aware of the majority of men and such. And I thought, I'm trying to go with the waves. I don't try to I don't know, like that's my attitude when I see like some situation. So I thought it doesn't matter. I will just go with the flow. And yeah, some years you do notice that it can have some effect when you maybe are bullied or a little bit on the outside and you have nowhere to go to. So indeed, I joined I think you had like a boot camp during the summer, and I volunteered for PyLadies Amsterdam as a mentor. And that was the first time that I met Alyona. I know about her profile because she's like a very visible person. And just seeing her picture online, I was like very interested. This is somebody who has to be very strong. So I was very happy when she, do you want to give a talk? And then she said, do you want to be an organizer? And it was for me professionally very good because I was changing jobs. So I got a new job and I became a co-organizer. And for me, also Bhoomika, when I met her, I see her like a more junior, but super strong person, and we don't want to put any pressure, but we expect a lot of her. And and then I was going somewhere. So new job. Okay. Okay. So for me, I don't think we will ever achieve 50-50 ratio. I think it's just, maybe in 100 years we will have no genders. I don't know. But as long as we have some differences, we will have some natural differences. So what I see for me is a safe space. Also, I have two nieces. They're both girls. They're very smart, but they're not into technique. So yeah, I mean, but I just think it's like more a safe space, okay, there will always be a majority of men, but if you need some support, somebody to talk to, you want to have geek out with a girl, then you have these spaces. I've been looking for a job for 8 months. I'm starting a new job on Tuesday. It's very exciting. It's with UNICEF, so it's a very good opportunity. I don't know how much Python will be used there, but I'm there now, so let's see. And I'm very happy to be here, so glad that you're all here.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm also really thankful, both of them, because somehow they can survive with me. I am this person when they join, okay, these are the templates. If we're doing this are the templates. This template spin ups this set up this is how this part works. Like, why should we follow all these documentations? Like, stay with me, you will see. And then you'll see efficiency later. In the beginning, it takes time, to get used to it. But then bit by bit to get there. And I think what for me was really, really important that on a specific moment, I was invited as a speaker for different conferences, but I was not invited to speak about my technical qualities. I was invited to speak about some completely unrelated stuff. I remember it was one of the Python conferences, and I was invited to speak about like crying in a bathroom, what you're gonna do if you experience hard project. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? Like, we all have emotions, we all have this stuff, but like, it's a Python conference, for the God's sake, like, let's discuss, I don't know, like about like this piece of automation that we can do, or let's just like, there are different options we can say, like, oh, I don't know, how to optimize your Spark jobs, whatever. Like, let's talk about that, not about these things. I do think these things are important. What we try at least to build here, we try to say like, look, we are different. There are different things. But if we can somehow learn from each other, share our knowledge, and just start opening up to the outer world, that's why we aim to stream our events. So all our workshops are usually on our GitHub. If you're not aware about a GitHub, you just go search PyLadies Amsterdam. You will see all the bootcamps we did, all the workshops we did, all materials are there. And then as soon as COVID started, we went to fully online mode, and starting from that moment, we start also streaming to YouTube. It was also a lot of learning until we discover streaming. You don't need to edit video, you just stream and then you forget, and that's it. You learn it by doing. So I think, Christine, you are with us, right?
Yes, I'm here.
And we don't see you.
Now let me turn on my camera. Here, can you see me now?
Yes. And Christine, yes. Wait, we see just black box for now.
Okay.
Gray box. We do hope that you're not a bot. Christine ran in PyLadies Stockholm from Sweden. So just a couple of minutes. Yep.
Yeah, I hope that you can see me at some point. If not,
I think we can.
I can just talk. Yeah. Thanks so much for inviting me to your 10-year celebration, because I really follow your chapter in Amsterdam, and I think it's impressive what you're doing, like the workshops that you arrange and the meetups. And I actually a couple of weeks ago looked at your bringing ML into production workshop that you run last year. I think it was a bootcamp in the summer, and it's still relevant content. And I just find that you really put a lot of focus on quality and bringing something that people can use. And it's I really admire that. And what we do in Stockholm is a bit similar to what you do in Amsterdam. Like, we do meetups, we do workshops, we try to build our community here to be a support network where people can try out, where they can share their Python stories, or maybe hold their first technical talk. And also try to make the members an active part in the community by like also contributing to the PyCon that we arrange in Sweden. And that's also how I got involved. Like I first joined a couple of PyLadies meetups, and then they asked like, do you want to become an organizer? Because one organizer moved away. And then one thing just happened to the other, and I became more and more involved. And it's such a great community. It's like so welcoming, so friendly, and it's international. Today I was even talking about PyLadies with someone from the UK, and I was like, you have a chapter there. Like, if you want to get in touch, just reach out. I bet someone will be happy to help you. And it's just a wonderful like group that we have. And yeah, we're also 10 years now, and it's so great. Yeah, really happy to celebrate more of those anniversaries.
You know, you are 1 month older than us, so
Yeah.
for 1 month.
Yeah, we're not streaming. We're a bit bad with that at the moment, but we have big ambitions for the fall again, to ramp things up. So hopefully we can also stream then now and then. We will see. But otherwise, you can connect with us on Slack. We also have a group there. Like if you look for City Stockholm, you will see what's up. And if you want to connect with me and maybe learn a little bit more how development and jobs are in Stockholm or in Sweden, I'm always happy to help. So, yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
And how can I just ask, how does your celebration look like today?
How a celebration look like today? Wait, I can do this. Wait, this is how a celebration looks like today. If
Hey, hey everyone!
I can show you.
So great to see you.
This I don't know what you're seeing.
Oh, you had cake. Oh wow! Oh, this is so pretty.
This is how it looks like.
I wish I would be there.
We have direct flights from Stockholm to Amsterdam.
Yeah, I know. We should really try to organize something together.
Definitely, or to run PyCon in the Netherlands. I think that's our biggest dream, but we're not going to make it on our own. So we are talking with different communities to partner efforts probably for the next year, because it's a big thing to run. So it will be really hard. But
yeah, I know. I have been arranging a couple of PyCons, and if they're online or in real life, it's always a lot of work, but it's so much fun. You really work towards a goal, and you learn so much on the way. But then you can like get in touch with EuroPyCon arrangers. I guess they will help you a lot.
Yeah,
we are happy to come.
Oh yeah, we have Amsterdam. So Nicholas, he's on the committee for EuroPython. Yes, that's how we were in previous year with like speaker selection and all of that. Yeah, and we also have like pretty powerful PyData community here that we were mentioning PyData Amsterdam event and 14, 15, 16 September. So yeah, literally a lot of things to go. Thanks a lot. I think from our side, we're going to take a short break, 5 minutes. How do you feel about it? Do we need a break? How are you sitting? Do you need a break? Yes, no, I don't know.
More cake.
Yeah, 5 minutes break? Yeah, good. I will mute. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
And I will stay. I will mute us, and I will still keep stream. So just Okay, and unmuting, and we are back. Just 1 second. I'm just check one thing, and we are going forward. Stream is going. There are some variations, but anyway, it was a document, right? Yep. Yes, I see it. Okay. So, no, I think the next one I want to call you. Yes. Yeah. If you want to, yeah. The camera is here. Yeah, I would prefer if you pronounce your name and surname on your own. No, just like if you comfortable, because like just for the camera. If you can say your name out, because for me it's really hard to read. Sorry. Yeah. Whatever you want to share with us.
Great. Okay, thank you so much for your invitation, Alyona. And my name is Xiaozhou, and I work as a software engineer for already 6 years. And I gave a presentation last year at PyLadies about, well, basically cloud application and deploy a cloud application in Google Cloud, and more about the introduction of the history about cloud applications. And I think until the point that we've reached gender equality, I don't know when, but I hope as soon as possible, maybe that we cannot see in our lifetime, but I still hope as soon as possible, that it's very meaningful to have such a supportive community to help people who are underrepresented in the field, particularly in the tech field, to have a supportive and friendly atmosphere. So to be honest, when I started working as a software engineer, the environment wasn't a really good one. Well, the working environment I had at that moment, I was the only woman, and I doubt a lot for myself whether should I continue a lot, and really struggling for, well, even fighting my existence in the software development team. And sometimes opinions are not being heard, and sometimes people are just ignoring what you're talking about. When I started doubting this, I was like, okay, let's see if there are any geeky women like Bhoomika in this case. In the world, I believe I'm always not the only one. And fortunately, in the meetup, I found PyLadies and also other communities. Well, the first, women's community I have ever attended in the Netherlands, well, it's not PyLadies, but younger girls. Is it?
No, it's okay. Is it frozen? We'll
I
check.
think it's frozen.
It's you just
Okay.
yes.
I will just continue. Okay,
It's okay.
it was
Yeah.
frozen.
No worries.
Yeah. And it was younger girls at where, well, my tutor was a very amazing lady. She helped me, well, at that moment, I already had the knowledge of building a web application, but I wasn't really confident for myself to, well, go through it independently. But surprisingly, with her support, mentally support, and also, well, in many different ways, that I went through the entire tutorial, well, within 3 hours. I was like totally surprised by myself that this is the power of having such a supportive community. And since then, I want to give the energy and the power I gain from the women's community back to the society and more people, not only limited to women, but in general, people who are underrepresented in this field. And also, that was the reason why I gave the tutorial in PyLadies, because I think now that I have some experience in the tech industry, I can finally give it back. And hopefully, if someone who has the confusion like me at the very beginning, why we deploy things to the cloud, why not running something on premises, and why the cloud is developed like this today. That was about the history of, well, how cloud application evolves to the point today. So if you're interested in topic, please feel free to watch that workshop. But hopefully I can give something more back to the community and being a supportive member to amazing people. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Fantastic. Yeah, and it was deploying Django on CGP, on the Google Cloud. That was the workshop about. Tatiana, we have, this like the list. And I really like the effect. You have like recursion, like you have like endless person going there. So
it's the feedback loop effect. So hello everyone.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be here this evening. Actually, it's my first in-person event, and it feels really warm. And it's so nice to see faces, because last time I did a workshop, it was my first live stream event. I felt like a cool kid. I'm streaming now, But it was challenging because there were no faces and there was no feedback. And for me, it was, oh my God, is there anybody there? My workshop was an introduction to Snowflake. I see many people are familiar with Snowflake. I didn't have to explain myself tonight very much. When I speak with my friends, I always have to tell more. It was also end-to-end data journey. How do you explore data? How you create a model? How you explain your results and how you are sharing those results with team members, with the business. For me now, because it's PyLadies, honestly, I'm originally from Romania, and although it's like developing country, it's not like the most developed country. There's now not so much gender inequality, and I didn't feel that in tech. I studied, for example, informatics. Then I did my cybersecurity master. There was always like a well-balanced presentation between men or women. But when I came here, I saw there's a different story. It was really surprising for me, especially in Amsterdam, where there's like such a vibrant city and you have a lot of cultures. But in my team, there are only 2 ladies, and especially now I have a customer-facing role. I'm usually the only lady in the room, so I'm really grateful that you have these initiatives, and I'm really grateful because for me it's also a way to meet new people. So I was speaking earlier with Inge, and actually it was the first event I attended, the first workshop when I got first here in Amsterdam. So I wanted to meet new people, and what better way to meet new people than join PyLadies. So we exchange a couple of memories, and for me, it's a moment I will always cherish, and I will associate with me starting a new journey. And honestly, I don't think that much about gender inequality because I don't know. It's like something that's I do believe there's a lot of pressure there. We should talk more about it. We should be more aware about it, but in a gentle manner. I don't think. I mean, and this is how, for example, here we are all passionate about the same things. It doesn't matter. It's like gender agnostic, I think. This is a gender agnostic community, and through our passion and the way we want to look at the world and innovate, and to our dedication, And I really want to thank you, ladies, for all you're doing. It's really inspiring. I think it's something that unites us, our passion, and how we want to see the world beyond gender. So thank you for this.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Fantastic. Yeah, and I think that one thing that's just before like a short like cheap creeping in. So we were working, three of us, for a long time, and we were never seeing each other in person. So we're like in this modus like for 1-2 years, something like this, and then let's meet. And then it was really funny. Oh, this is how your body looks like. Oh, cool. This is you are. So we meet at my place because of drinks, probably a lot of drinks.
A lot of drinks.
But it was really funny experience. And I remember before COVID, we had this conversation about Bhoomika probably starting PyLadies at Delft. But then literally COVID somehow united us because like we are like, I think I'm here representing Amsterdam from all three of us. But it doesn't matter like in which city of the Netherlands you're living, like we're still like driving PyLadies Amsterdam and keep focusing it, let's say, in Amsterdam environment. So anyway, I just wanted to share it because you mentioned that, but I would say the experience is also really, really weird when you're talking to your black screen, like, and you don't know how it's received on the other end. So we want to keep some interactivity for workshops, but usually we're also struggling with the streaming setup and all of that. So it takes time, it takes learning to get there. So anyway, I'm happy with there. And just to say, all people who are there, so you can get back and rewatch the stream. You can rewatch the workshop. All materials here for Snow Park was really interesting, especially if you're working with Snowflake ecosystem. Yeah, Inge.
Hi, I'm Inge. I work at Dexter Energy. Oh, is it here okay?
Yeah, we need recursion. It's really important.
I like to look at myself 10 times.
I need multiplication. We just multiply and powerful women.
So many women in this room. Dexter Energy, we forecast the production of renewable energy. So we helped with the bootcamp. So actually, it's all the team. It was a great experience. You made super great bootcamp. So we did the case of the machine learning operations bootcamp, and it was about an imaginary city that had solar panels and it had wind turbines, but was not connected to any grid. It didn't have any batteries. So they had to use the energy whenever it was there. So the participants had to make some way that everyone living in this village could know when they could use their energy. And it was an imaginary example, but it's not that different from reality because, of course, we want to use more renewable energy. So it's not possible to store everything in batteries. So it would be super helpful if industries or also consumers can adapt to it. And for that, machine learning operation is super relevant. So I was so happy to see that you make this bootcamp and that people can follow it, because if I look at our work, the most challenging part is to just get all the data in time, do your predictions, get all the data to the right people. And it will be like that in many fields. So it's super cool that it's an open bootcamp that everyone can follow and that people can learn about this, women and men as well. So it was cool. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks. I think that's still right. Yeah, I think we have. Okay, Olivia, do you want to join us? Yeah. We will
I shall position myself in the recursion loop.
Yes, that's a requirement. Recursion room.
Hi everyone. I participated, I think, in the beginning of the year. I gave a talk in the joint event with the MLOps community here, and it was my first talk in front of a public audience. It was so different than what I thought it would be. It was in person, which after almost 3 years of depersonalized interactions, it brought additional levels of feedback and also of energy when I did it. I got nervous. I'm a little bit nervous now as well. Yeah, so I think what's really useful about this community, and particularly the PyLadies initiative, and the fact that it kind of multiplied across the globe, is the fact that it offers a space where we can, I'm going to say it, we can be comfortable while holding ourselves to a higher standard. So I feel like when we enter this space and we decide to participate either as presenters or even in audience and interacting in the breaks, we have a willingness and a desire to interact in a way that is inclusive, that accepts the other person as being different, and trying to actually be curious about what that means about the other person being a little bit different. What is your background? Even though you don't look like me, or you don't talk like me, or we don't have the same inside joke about some game we played when we were 15, that's still okay, because that's actually, it's an opportunity to learn new things about the other people, while at the same time having a certain rigor in the way that we communicate and we decide to listen. So all in all, I think it's a very positive experience for me, at least. And it makes me want to come back, and it makes me want to develop myself that way. And I want to thank the organizers, and also the organizers from the other chapters that I believe are fostering a similar type of of environment. And because I'm also from Romania, so for me, I would want to have a small chat with him in the break, because I actually share my colleagues' experience. Going back to from the experience from my country, I was educated, I was brought up and educated initially in Romania, where there's this sense that there's not this separation of that much of, this is a male-dominated domain or a women-dominated. There's doctors of all, more or less, both sexes. There's engineers, in the mechanical engineer, in the software engineer space. I think there's a little high proportion of men in these areas, but not 10-1, so it's like 9-1. It's a more balanced space. So again, when I moved 10 years ago to the Netherlands, I was again surprised by the fact that all of a sudden, while I remained in my industry at the time in finance, I started in finance. All of a sudden, from maybe 60-40% back in Bucharest, I was here the only woman in probably 2 degrees of separation. So in my immediate team, then in the department, we were maybe again probably a percentage of between 10 and 15%. And then, of course, as the organization grows larger, then it becomes more balanced, because more departments that are more diverse then come into play. So that for me was an interesting transition, but it wasn't, it was not an obstacle. Again, it was something that made me curious at the time, so why is this different? And then I transitioned from finance to tech, and in tech, I found a similar situation where I was, for example, in a team of data scientists and engineers. We were maybe 20-30% women. However, because of my passion for DevOps, I was chasing the DevOps guy. It's no joke. He was DevOps and he was the guy, and he was the guy. He was the person, the go-to person. As I was basically chasing him to learn more and to become better in that particular area, I was all of a sudden the only woman. It's like I was and once that happened, I actually realized that there's actual some significant differences in the way that being successful is translates to how to communicate to the other people and how to convey some information or how to convey frustration. Because I could notice, for example, if we were in the COVID years and there was an on-call and things were breaking down and we had to figure it out, and there was a call and people were jumping in, it could become it could become more applicable to the people attending the call, as opposed to, for example, when I would also join like as the only girl or woman or whatever. So it required a little bit of adjustment in terms of what does this mean from a communication perspective, or how do people communicate frustration or communicate anxiety or communicate success and happiness, or the happy emotions. So that initially it was a little bit I had to take a step back because it was different. But then I learned that there are ways in which I, as a woman, can change myself in the sense of how I choose to interpret something that is said, or how I choose to communicate something if I need to say something to my colleagues, and accept feedback. Let's just leave it at that. The skin gets thicker and thicker, and so it was a process of adaptation, change, but also growth, because in time I realized that I can be myself as a woman, and I can have my my inherent traits, while at the same time being successful in this particular area, right? The technical area, the highly engineered DevOps area. And I actually, in partnership with PyLadies Amsterdam, I actually plan to give a talk about communication and storytelling in a couple of weeks. So I think that's it. I think I already talked much.
Thanks so much. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Olivia. Thanks. I would say, like we say, that's a new format. We're trying to get a discussion, and it's all started with like all these interviews, technical interviews, all this stuff. We get back to it. Margriet, do you want to say something?
I didn't prepare anything.
Whatever. Like.
Yeah.
Because you went well the first workshop.
Apparently.
Fantastic.
I wish there were so many of me in real life. It would save a lot of time.
We can froze this moment, right?
So how did I came actually to give that first workshop? Apparently, is I got like how do you say it? Like
you say it in Dutch. I will translate.
A survey. We got a survey from the group, and like, do you want to give a workshop? Yeah, whatever. I'll give a workshop. I mean, at that moment I was working in academia, so I was teaching. So whatever. It's something I can do.
That's an attitude. Fantastic.
And then the question was, what do you want to give a workshop about? There's another interesting question, and something I was doing a lot at that time and also later in my next job was data visualization, so making good plots that are accessible to everyone, which for me is a very important thing because I'm completely colorblind, so I see a lot of graphics that don't make any sense to me. And I think if you program stuff, you can actually make it better, so why don't you do that? And maybe to give a nice, maybe a bit more happy story about working in development as a woman. So I spent the last 3 years working at a startup. Unfortunately, the startup isn't there anymore, but those things happen with startups. But there I also was the only woman in the development team. But for some reason, I didn't experience anything negative in the team. We managed to get a very nice collaborative team. I didn't feel like the only woman in there. I just felt like part of the team. So these things can also work out well. And I think it's important to basically teach the guys to be normal people and not allow them to be the bros and to be annoying. So I think this community could also help with that. I see some guys around, and I think those are the people you want to have in the field.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Margriet. Thanks a lot. We have one person who was not able to join us, so I will just share the record, just a second, and then I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, almost there, and it is the last one before we're gonna concluding. If you still want eating part and yeah, and socializing part, so just a second. I think also went too early excited. Yeah, it was shared. Oh no, sorry, I downloaded it. Yes, Emma, fantastic. Yes, I'm gonna do this. Okay. Yes, we. Hmm? No, it's okay.
Did you see it, the recording? Or?
Yeah, wait. I'm just yeah.
Oh, this recording, yeah.
Hi everyone. I'm so jealous of all of you who are partying in such good company. You have a super friendly and open networks of techies, and you have the best organizing team. So I'd love to have a drink with you all. But at least I can give a big cheers to Bhoomika, Anya, and Nancy. They're very clever, very efficient, and they have made a wonderful program for us all over the past 10 years. I've always been quite impressed by the GitHub pages they have managed because it's clean, it's well organized, and it deals with a variety of essential topics. There are things for beginners and for experts, and there are things on deeply technical topics, as well as more applied topics, and also on ethical issues. What a breadth and depth of knowledge. I was very lucky to make a tutorial for PyLadies Amsterdam. It was on AI ethics, namely on fairness and discrimination. And I've learned a lot myself. It was in the middle of COVID, but it didn't stop our courageous organizers. And they had deep altruistic motivation. They were very careful with how the knowledge was presented. I could not torture the audience with a series of technical details. They pushed me to develop more data visualizations to make the content more accessible. I also had to make my code more clean. And the organizer gave me great support and feedback because they really care about you guys. Eventually, many years afterwards, what I've done for this tutorial is still useful to the students I teach to at the university. And I have no doubt that this applies to the rest of the tutorials that they have curated. So I'm always very happy to recommend the GitHub page of PyLadies Amsterdam to students. This PyLadies endeavor is absolutely fantastic because it makes essential knowledge accessible to a large worldwide community. And it demonstrates the great capacities of women and non-binary people. Because even if we are lucky to be living in Amsterdam, where the culture is more open than other places in the world, the tech world is often male-dominated, more or less blatantly. So the PyLady communities remain absolutely essential to develop a better world. So cheers to all of you for being there and for being yourselves. And let's keep learning from each other and enjoy each other's company in the process. I'm sure this is just the first decade of PyLadies Amsterdam, and there's much more to come in the future. So I'll say, see you all in 10 years, and cheers.
Yeah. I'm really happy that Emma did this record for us. Let me just stop sharing the screen. I think for now, I guess it will. I will conclude this online part if you don't mind. Then we stop streaming, and there are like time for any questions, whatever. So I was announcing the event, which is PyLadies Amsterdam conference, which is going to take place 14, 15, 16 of September. Was organized mostly by PyLadies Amsterdam community. During this conference, we, PyLadies Amsterdam, we're going to have a booth there. So if you're interested, like bring your colleagues, bring your friends, +1s, wherever, go to visit this. We submitted workshop. Unfortunately, it was not accepted. It's okay because the competition was pretty stiff and pretty tough. Yeah. But I would say so. We did this, but at least we wanted to do this. Like there will be other options doing stuff, and still hope to see you at this conference, and also at the 21st of September. We at ThoughtWorks, we run in our so-called XConf. Usually we run in different countries, in different cities, so it's not only one XConf. We call it event from technologists for technologists, or other way around, if you want. And it's mostly a combination of all this like pieces of knowledge and wisdom they are sharing. And we have one really interesting talk, at least that's going to be done by our team here, and they're going to talk about literally generative AI without LLMs. Because like we were working on generative AI topics and concepts, like even before this like popularity of LLMs were fantastically brought up by someone behind MLOps Minds, because the way how it was packaged, deployed, and exposed to the public, that was made it official. Otherwise, there was a lot of other LLMs model before, but we were not aware about that. And the same story with packaging and deploying Midjourney and other algorithms. So kudos to those who deployed these algorithms to production and maintain them. So yeah, that's in a nutshell the things are going to happen. In August, we're going to have an event with Olivia. It would be experimental events. It will be guided discussions specifically about like finding your voice, finding the way how to communicate, how to be curious, and also what to do for technical interviews, and not only for this one, also in like specific resolution. It's not a guide on conflict resolution. It's not about that. It's mostly for specific, difficult, tough technical situation, what you're going to do. So that's going to happen. In September, we are, let's say there are different options that we are looking at right now. In October, it would be geospatial Python. And then in November, there is a joint event with Kickstart AI. So more things to come. And also there could be a possibility of also one of the events dedicated to commuting, you see, not to commuting, to committing to one of the open source Python libraries such as scikit-learn or Pandas, or we will see how it goes. We'll see where. But if you have any fresh ideas, fresh, less fresh, middle fresh ideas you want to share, talk to us. We also have a global Slack, which is PyLadies. It's not a dedicated fund. There are different countries there, different representatives. They also have a very useful channel, by the way, called Help Me, really simple as that. And it's about if you have any technical question, just literally pick up the hive mind of all this, like the powerful PyLadies community globally. So I think for this, I will conclude our online session because it's already longer than we expected. Sorry about that. And I think that's time, I would say, like 30 minutes, like 40 minutes, if you want to socialize more, talk to us, with each other. We're also curious to learn your stories. Who are you? Why are you there? If that makes sense, I will stop the session, and then, yeah, we end in the stream.